The spacious arid lands consisting of various landscapes of deserts and semi-desert cover more than half of Kazakhstan's land. The desert area lasts for 2,800 kilometers from west to east as a 700-kilometer wide belt from the Caspian Sea shores to foothills of the Tarbagatai and Zaysan Basin. Its area is more than 1 million square kilometers. Its climate is extremely continental and dry. The desert is poor of surface water. It is crossed by rivers, and part of them finds its end in the desert: Chu, Talas, Sarasu, and others. Kazakhstan has a great diversity of desert landscapes. There are sand deserts, the Kızılkum, Muyunkum, the near Aral Sea Karakum, and the Taukum. Spacious clay flatlands covered by saltwort sagebrush desert vegetation, Ustyurt, Betpakdala, and alkaline deserts, the Caspian Sea and the Aral Sea regions, and rocky deserts of Jungar type, the right bank of the Ili River, and many other types. Each of them has its own particular vegetation and fauna. Its inhabitants have several species living only in the deserts, which appeared and adapted to live in such harsh conditions. The steppe and desert plants are common for the desert and steppe zone. The vegetation mostly includes sheep-fesk, sagebrush, chamomile, and esprato grass. Often sagebrush covers large areas, thus creating a depressing, monotonous picture. Some spots amidst the sagebrush you can find summer cypress, ceratocarpus, eurosia, and saltbrush. Groves of Fiji grass appear on salty soil in places where the groundwater gets close to the surface. The valleys between the ridges of Ulutau, Chingistau, and others have meadows with vast vegetation. The slopes there have birch and aspen groves and pine tree forests with underwood of hawthorn, bird cherry, rosehip, blackcurrant, and raspberry. The mountain-fell granite massif of Kızılray is an oasis in waterless semi-deserts. Pine forests grow there. Salt marshes and alkali soils can be found on flatlands and hillocky lands. The salt marshes have got no vegetation in the middle, they've got vegetation only around its edges. The river basins in the semi-desert area are more rich in vegetation. Blue joint, cheegrass, and reed grow there. Some spots have osier bed, rosehips, honeyberry. Animal world in deserts is unique. Only certain kinds of snakes and lizards adapted to such conditions. The lizards commonly include agamas, geckos, toad agamas, and toad-headed agamas, and giant monitors. You can find prairie boa, steppe ribbon snake, copperheads, and turtles and hedgehogs. In the southern deserts of Kazakhstan, the venomous spider-like include scorpions, tarantula, black widow spiders, and camel spiders. The semi-deserts of Betpakdala in Ustyurt and the southern near Balkhash Lake area have such large-hoofed mammals as saigas and Persian gazelles. During bad weather, the numerous rodents such as jerboa, ground squirrels, gerbils are hiding in their holes and hibernate. The dense tugai bushes have wild boars, wolves, and swamp lynx. The desert zone has such birds as the Asian, red-capped, short-toed and crested larks, Saxel desert jays, desert warbles and Saxel sparrows. The birds of prey are long-legged buzzards and imperial eagle. The Tugai groves have magpies, crows, grey chukars, pheasants. The lakes and river areas of Sirdarya have geese, ducks, brants, gulls, pelicans and white herons. The Kızılkum Desert, which is translated from Turkic as Red Sands, is one of the largest deserts in the world, covering around 300 square kilometers and located in Central Asia. The Kızılkum Desert is bordered in the northwest by the Aral Sea, in the northeast by the Sirdarya River, in the east by Tanshan and Pamiralay Mountains, in the southwest by the Amudarya River, and located between these rivers in Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan and partially in Turkmenistan. It is here where the Transcaspian desert monitor lives, in the desert of Kızılkum, and on the left banks of the Sirdarya River in South Kazakhstan, in the sandy desert or on the border of clay desert. Here in South Kazakhstan, predominantly in the Kızılkum sands, is where the grey monitor lives. It is the largest reptile in Central Asia and Kazakhstan. A large male up to 1.5 meters long was found in Turkmenistan, and the largest one we found here was up to 1 meter 30 centimeters. It is a pretty good-sized lizard, very beautiful and bright. It is also called the desert dragon. I think it is a great beautification to our deserts. The monitor family includes the only modern genus of monitors and around 70 kinds, 2/3 of which live in Australia. The rest are in the southern part of Asia, Africa, Indo-Australia archipelago and New Guinea. As opposed to other lizards, the monitor's tongue is long, deeply split up front and can be drawn, as with the snakes. By the way, there's an opinion that the ancient monitor-like lizards were ancestors to the snakes. This genus includes the largest modern lizard, the dragon from the Komodo Island in Indonesia, that can reach 3 meters long and weigh up to 150 kilograms. And the Pleistocene monitor lizard called Megalania, that lived in Australia around 1.5 million years ago, was even larger. It could reach 6 meters in length and weigh over 700 kilos. The grey monitor is the largest lizard in Kazakhstan. The body length with tail is over 1.5 meters and weighed up to 3.5 kilos.
Он внесен в Красную книгу Казахстана.
It is included in the Red Book of Kazakhstan, as well as in the Red Books of Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. In Kazakhstan, it inhabits a relatively small area. It is the eastern part of the Kızılkum and right bank of the Sirdarya River, in Izokuduk Sands, on small residual mountains of Beltau, Darboza. It looks like prehistoric pangolin. The upper side of body in adult Transcaspian desert monitors has reddish-brown or grayish color with multiple dark spots and dots. The upper side of neck has 2 to 3 dark longitudinal lines, usually connecting in the back, forming horseshoe-like pattern. The back has up to 8 lateral dark red lines and up to 19 lines on the tail that make circles. Young monitors have brighter color to their skin. Their dark lines are dark brown, almost black, and are in great contrast on the grayish-yellow background.
Раньше считалось, что этот вид одиночка, есть у них свои индивидуальные территории.
Before, people thought it was the lonely kind of animal. They have their own territories. For some animals, such territory can extend to 2 to 3 kilometers. There are some animals that are like nomads, and those are mostly young males that can go for several tens of kilometers. Not so long ago, we set several trail cameras and discovered some interesting facts, that one hole may be inhabited not only by one monitor, they may live in couples, and for quite a long time we had been watching one hole where 3 monitors lived at the same time. It is active for around 5 months in a year and hibernates from September till March. During the day, it usually stays in its hole and sets off for hunting in mornings and evenings. In June, the female lays 20 to 25 eggs to send, and the young ones appear by August to September. The animals reach their full size and maturity in the 3rd year.
Вообще, серый варан играет очень важную роль в биоценозе пустынь. Дело в том,
In general, the grey monitor plays an important role in the desert biological community, as it can eat almost anything. The monitor will eat the animals that are sick and weak. They are easier to hunt, and this way it plays a role of a cleaner. The grey monitor is usually connected with the colonies of big gerbil. It finds shelter in their complicated holes, and the gerbils are the basic food for this predatory reptile. Besides the rodents, the monitor can feed on large insects, young chicks and juvenile birds, lizards, snakes and young turtles. The monitor can go for more than 1 kilometer in search of food. While searching for the bird nests, the monitors, especially the young ones, can easily climb the trees and bushes.
серого варана изучали в среднеазиатских республиках, в общем-то, уже давно и достаточно долго. Есть интересные наблюдения Целариуса, это московский наш коллега.
The grey monitor has been studied in Central Asian countries for quite a long time. There are some interesting observations made by Celarius. He is our colleague from Moscow. They took the clutch from nature according to certain permits and incubated it in the lab. And they discovered one interesting thing when the little monitor lizards came out of eggs. They were placed in separate terrarium with proper equipment, but started to behave very strange, running around and not eating. So they were placed back to the dark room, to the incubator for the winter. When the next year they were placed to the well-equipped terrarium, they started to behave normally. This proved the fact that after hatching, the little monitor lizards spent winter in the hole without leaving it in September. The adult monitors have almost no natural enemies except for humans. But the young lizard can become the victims of such predators as Cossack fox, jackal, snake eagle and black kite. Sometimes they get attacked by their larger relatives. If a monitor lizard spots some danger from large distance, then it tries to run away, and for a short distance it can speed up to 20 km per hour. If there's no way to run away from the enemy, or if the monitor is caught unaware, then it takes special threatening posture. It makes its body flat and looking big, it hisses, opens its mouth, and sticks out its tongue. If the enemy gets closer, the monitor starts to whip its tail, make angry jumps towards the aggressor, and can bite. The bites of the grey monitor are painful and sometimes can be accompanied by local inflammation. This can be explained by the presence of certain toxic components in its saliva.
Были случаи, описывались, когда после укуса варана человеку становилось.
There were some cases described that after the bite, the person felt sick, and unfortunately last year our colleague felt the action of the toxin on herself. You start feeling strong pain in the muscles all over the body, but after around 24 hours all symptoms disappear. The lizard's scary look resulted in multiple legends. One of them says that one who meets the monitor will get sick. Even the Kazakh name for this animal, kesel, means illness. That's why the monitor lizards are often killed, and the number of this rare animal is decreasing.
Дело в том, что варан традиционно вызывает негативные чувства у местного населения. С ним связано очень много разных мифов, легенд.
The thing is that traditionally the monitor lizards brings negative feelings in local population. Lots of bad legends, dirty myths are connected with it, and people still believe in them. And it's not only in Kazakhstan, but all over Central Asia. We made special survey in Kazakhstan when we went to each winter hut where the herdsmen live, and we asked each of them what they feel about these animals. And it turned out that almost every one of them kills at least 2 to 3 animals every summer. In some years, up to 20,000 skins of grey monitor lizards were stocked up in Central Asia and Kazakhstan. This resulted in a rapid drop in population, and in some places they even disappeared completely. The other factors resulting in disappearance of the monitor lizards is the destruction of their living areas, as a result of agricultural activity on the land and extermination of the lizards by local population.
Поскольку это достаточно крупное животное, люди его боятся, часто убивают.
Since it is a quite large animal, people are afraid of it and often kill it. In the 30s of last century, its population was dramatically reduced since its skin was used in haberdashery. The animals were killed in hundreds of thousands, but later, when people realized that it took too long for the population to restore, they suspended the industry. The frequency of encounter of the monitor lizards and their tracks in different parts of Kızılkum is very unequal. Thus, the most of encounters falls on the southern part of the Kazakhstani Kızılkum, southern Kazakhstan region. In a wide line along the border with Uzbekistan, here is the biggest population density of the kind, and the local encounters can reach 10 and even 20 animals per square kilometer. Unfortunately, this territory suffers from noticeable anthropogenic pressure. The density and aggregate length of dirt roads here, used by farmers and border forces, is quite high, and the motorcycle tracks used by herdsmen during the cattle grazing can be found everywhere. Unfortunately, many people feel like heroes after killing this animal without thinking of the benefits this animal brings by killing the rodents and insects. And near the cities and villages, it reduces the population of poisonous snakes. We should also think how empty the desert will be without the monitor lizards. One of the ways to preserve their population is the captive breeding. But the grey monitor lizard is still a mystery for the biologists. Breeding is still not possible even after setting the most comfortable conditions for it.
В отличие от многих других представителей рода варанус, серого варана, а именно каспийский подвид, до сих пор еще не смогли размножить в неволе.
As opposed to many other representatives of the Varanus genus, the scientists still did not manage to breed the grey monitor, the Caspian subspecies in particular, in captivity. No one knows why. Apparently, they still know little of its biology. One time in the Moscow Zoo, a female laid its eggs that were incubated, but it was the only recorded case. The animal world of the Central Asian deserts is unusual. The burning sun and shortage of water have dried out the land and made the animals and plants adapt to the extreme weather conditions. In summer, during the day heat, when the temperatures reach 40 degrees centigrade and the ground heats up to 70, it may look as if life has left this place. And only after the sunset, you suddenly find out that there is life everywhere you look. The sanctuaries, national parks are organized, and the Red Book is established to preserve the rare and endangered species of animals and plants.